Hello everyone, my name is Saumya. I welcome you all to Kalam Academy. In continuation to our previous video on first past the post system, in this video I will be discussing proportional representation. I will be taking up all of these keywords. Till now I have completed the rule of law, whip, quorum and first past the post system, and now we are looking at proportional representation. Proportional representation, as the name suggests, is representing proportionally. It is a method of election in which the allocation of seats closely corresponds to the proportion of the total votes cast for the party. Now, if you remember, in first past the post system, we saw that even with 26% of the votes secured, a party was winning the majority. And the party which was securing 74% of the votes did not win the majority. So there was a mismatch between the seats and the votes. But this does not happen in proportional representation. In this, if a party is securing n% of the votes, then it will roughly secure n% of the seats. Votes and seats are proportional. If n% of the electorate favors a particular political party, then party will win roughly n% of the seats. So this system ensures that the election results are as proportional as possible by reducing the inconsistency in the share of seats and votes. Okay. Now, here we have four parties A, B, C and D. They have secured respectively these many votes. Now, in FPTP, what will happen is the party which has secured the maximum votes will be declared as the winner. So in this case, party A will be declared as the winner and all of these votes will get wasted. Okay, this is what we saw in that. But in proportional representation, the parties will win the seats according to the proportion of their votes. So let's say party A will win the seats in proportion to the votes, 70% of the total seats. Party B will win 10% of the total seats. Party C will win 18% of the total seats. And party D will win 2% of the total seats. So the votes won't get wasted. Okay. Proportional representation has two variations. The first one is the party list, which is of two types, closed and open. This is the closed list and this is the open list. Okay. Now, what is the difference between the two? In the closed list, what happens is that on the day of polling, the ballot paper just has the list of parties. Okay. And the voters, they have to mark the party they support. So in this case, the voters vote for the party and not the candidate. This is the basic difference. The voters vote for the party and not the candidate. And the parties, they predetermine the order of the candidates who are going to be elected. Okay. But the voters are not able to see the order of the elected candidates. They are predetermined by the party itself, but it is not shown to the voters. And the candidate who is positioned highest on that list tends to secure the seat. Okay. So in this case, the voters, they are not given the freedom to express the preference, to express their preference of a particular candidate. Instead, they just have to choose the party of their choice. Okay. On the other hand, what happens in the open list, that on the ballot paper, each party also presents its list of candidates. Okay. Each party presents the list of candidates also. So the voters, they can indicate not just their preferred party but also their preferred candidate. Okay. And when we have to decide that how many seats each party has won, we also count the vote of the candidate in the party vote itself. Okay. And then the party receives the seats in proportion to their overall share of the national vote. Party receives the seats in proportion to the vote, in proportion to their overall vote. Now, this system has few wastage of votes. There were huge amount of wastage of votes in FPTP we saw, and this method has fewer wastage of votes because almost all the votes go towards electing a candidate of choice. Okay, and then other advantage is that minority gets access to representation. Then we have seen that seats are proportionate to votes, and another advantage is that it allows the parties to represent the candidates, to represent the diverse list of candidates. Okay, the next one is the single transferable vote. We use this method in the election of president in India, vice president, members of Rajya Sabha, and members of the Legislative Council. Okay, this is a multi-winner electoral system in which the voters cast a single vote in the form of a ranked choice ballot. Now, instead of parties putting forward the list of candidates as was done in the list system of proportional representation, here the voters, they themselves rank the candidates according to their preference using a preferential ballot. This is a preferential ballot. Okay. So the voters, they rank the candidates in order of preference. Okay, suppose this is 1, 2, 3, this is 4, and this is 5. So in order of their preference, they rank the candidates. Then this system is carried forward in stages. In stage 1, only the first preference votes are counted. Okay, and after the first preference votes are counted, any candidate who has secured or who has exceeded the quota gets elected. Now, what is quota? Any candidate who exceeds the quota gets elected. Okay, quota is the number of votes required to win the election. Quota, we have a formula for quota. Total valid votes divided by total seats plus 1, and then 1 is added in the quotient. So this is the quota. So any candidate who will exceed the quota will be declared as the winner in the first preference counting. And then in the second stage, any surplus votes among the elected candidate will be transferred to the next candidate of choice, next preference candidate. Okay, any surplus votes of this candidate who has already won will be transferred to the next preference candidate. And then suppose if no candidate has enough votes to reach the quota, then that candidate will be eliminated. And then after that, what will happen is all the votes of that eliminated candidate will be passed on to the next preference on the ballot paper. Okay, so this process is continuously repeated until all seats of the elections are filled and the candidate has been elected. So this is how the single transferable vote is carried on. Now, what is the purpose? That it produces government that more accurately reflect the overall level of public support, and this helps to ensure that the needs and the concerns of the broad segment of people are taken into account. And then it also makes it easier for the smaller parties to win seats. Okay, but also this system produces more of a coalition government. Coalition. When no single party wins a majority, then the parties are forced to form alliances. Okay, so we can see more of coalition governments in this type of election. Now let's look at the merits and demerits. We have seen that there is no wastage of votes because maximum of the votes go towards electing the candidate of choice. Okay, and then minority party gets represented. All groups and political parties are represented in the legislature because this is a very fair system. It is proportional, but we have demerits as well. Logistical difficulty. In a country as vast as India, this complex system can be very difficult to operate, to implement. Okay. And also India has a very poor literacy rate. So people can have difficulty in understanding the complexity of the system. Difficulty in understanding. Also, this can lead to more of expenditure. Okay. Then it threatens the stability of the government. We have seen that it leads to coalitions. When no single party gets majority, then they are forced to form alliances with other parties. So this leads to inability to form coherent policies. Okay, inability. Then it can lead to fragmentation of the party. It can lead to rivalry, and obviously it can lead to the instability. And then we have seen that the voters vote for the party and not for the candidate. So there is no link established between the voters and their representatives. So representatives are not very sensitive of the needs and aspirations of the voters. Okay. So this was about the proportional representation. I hope you got some clarity on this concept. I will see you in the next video with another concept. Thank you.